What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the video. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Today I am here with the 2025 Lexus NX 350, and this is the F Sport model. Lexus has sent me this NX 350 to test out for an entire week so that I can give you guys the most thorough review possible. So let's waste no time, let's get right into it. First, let's talk about the ride quality. So this has an adaptive variable suspension, struts in the front and double wishbone in the rear. Now the main thing I've noticed is that this doesn't quite ride the same as other Lexus models that I've driven. The ride feels a little bit more sporty than it does luxury. It handles bumps, potholes, and any other road hazards without any issue, don't get me wrong. But it just doesn't quite ride as smooth as the RX or even the RZ, which is the Lexus EV. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not a harsh ride, but it's just not what you'd come to expect from Lexus, if that makes sense. Now, there are a few possible contributing factors to that. One, this is riding on run-flat tires. There is no spare tire available on this NX, so run-flat tires. But also, we're riding on 20-inch wheels. Now, 20-inch isn't a huge wheel size, but I have heard other people who've driven this car say that on the lower trim levels that have 18-inch wheels, that there is a noticeable difference in ride quality where the smaller wheel size has a smoother ride than this F Sport model that has the 20s. So I'll reiterate again, there's nothing wrong with the ride quality. It's just that Lexus has built up quite a reputation for themselves of making extremely smooth driving cars, and I just don't think this one is quite on the same level as some of the others. But in comparison to competitors, like the closest one I would say is the Acura RDX, I'd say the ride quality is right on par with that car. Now, another important component of ride quality is road noise, and it's nice and quiet on the inside of the cabin. That's another thing you come to expect from Lexus, but there is no issue there. Good use of sound deadening materials to keep the cabin nice and isolated. Now, on a road like this where you're driving at a lower speed, it's going to be less road noise, understandably, than on the highway, and we are going to be taking it out on the highway too, just to test out how it sounds there as well. Before we get into the acceleration test, let's talk about the engine and transmission setup. This is a 2.4 liter 4-cylinder engine. It does have a turbo. It puts out 275 horsepower and 317 pound-feet of torque, and that's paired with an 8-speed automatic transmission. And I have thoroughly enjoyed this powertrain setup for the past week. Now, I have it in Sport Plus mode. All right, we're gonna come to a complete stop. So 0 to 60 on this NX 350 F Sport is rated at around 6.6 seconds. Now, that road where I do the acceleration test is a little bit uphill, but still 6.6 sounds about right. My favorite part about the transmission, at least in Sport Plus mode, is that it lets you rev all the way to redline before shifting. It doesn't shift gears too quickly. See, in today's car world, we're seeing a lot of 8-speed automatic, 10-speed automatics, and personally, I believe 8-speed is the sweet spot because some other cars, you know, like the Acura that has the 10-speed automatic transmission, it's like there's so many gears to shift through that it tends to do it early. Redline here is about 6,200 RPM. It does rev up to at least 6,000 RPM before shifting, so that's something I appreciate. Being able to rev to redline helps get maximum power output. Of course, it doesn't help with fuel economy, but in those instances of driving where you need the full power to get up to speed, it works very well. Only just a slight bit of turbo lag off the rip when you're doing a 0 to 60, but it's actually not all that noticeable. The power delivery, very quick. All right, so now on the highway, you can see there's cars all around me. It's still nice and quiet on the interior. It's just enough engine noise without it being overbearing. After all, it is still a luxury car. You don't want it to be too loud. I'm only going about 40 right now, but at higher speeds, there is just a little bit of wind noise that you can hear coming from the tops of the windows, but it's nothing crazy. Zero to 60 is one thing, but the pickup on the highway, it's great. So while we're out here, let's test out the adaptive cruise control, and that's going to use the buttons on the right side of the wheel. We have our lane keep assist, or lane tracing assist as Lexus calls it. Put my finger on here. You can see on the head-up display up above here, there's a switch that toggles off and on when you hit the button. So lane tracing assist is now on, and then the button right above sets your adaptive cruise control to on. So now I have it set to 70 miles per hour. I'm gonna lower it a bit because that's a bit much. So using the arrow buttons, you can raise or lower your set speed. And now hands-free. And we're cruising. Set it a little higher. You want to at least maintain with the flow of traffic. Now this one is a little bit more aggressive than some other cars I've driven when it comes to the warning for keeping your hands on the steering wheel. You can see it shows up on the head-up display, and when that happens, just give it a little squeeze and then that message will go away, but you'll see not long after it'll be back. It always comes back. There it is. So what was that, maybe 20 seconds? It's not meant to be an autonomous driving system. It still wants you to pay attention. And weirdly enough, unlike some other Lexus models, this doesn't have the radar sensor that watches your eyes. Usually that sticks up like right from the top of the horn button right here. I've seen it on other Lexus models, but it's not on this one. So I don't know if that's maybe why it's a bit more aggressive, but yeah, it's missing that part. Okay, but you always want to give the wheel a little nudge so that it knows that you're still paying attention. Otherwise, it's going to yell at you. And if you don't touch it in time after the warning, it will just deactivate the adaptive cruise control. So you have to make sure you don't let that happen. Otherwise, that can end badly. As you can see, I'm not touching the brake or gas, and it is slowing down. It's using the sensors to maintain the distance with the car in front. And it's coming to a complete stop for me too. So now let's see once the car in front of me starts moving again. So it says on the head-up display waiting, so we'll see now the lights turning green. It says hit accelerator to resume. Now I'm off the accelerator, and it's doing it for me. Now, I don't think it's accelerating quite as quick as I'd like it to, because as you can see, that distance with the car in front is becoming a lot bigger now. It's not quite maintaining it, so I guess it does take a little bit more time to get up to speed, but then again, that is safer than just gunning it. So, there's also an unmarked cop behind me, so thanks, Lexus. And even when a car cuts in, it still accounts for that. And it does pretty good with reading the lines, even when some of those lanes kind of cut in. It doesn't seem to get like confused or disoriented by that, so I'd say it's a very solid adaptive cruise control system. This NX 350F Sport is equipped with a 17-speaker Mark Levinson audio system, so let's take a listen. no criticism for this system whatsoever, actually. I mean, it sounds great. Everything is nice and balanced, mid, treble, bass, and when you crank it up to high volume, it doesn't get distorted and it still sounds good. So honestly, I give the system an A+. So now we are out here at the back roads and we're gonna test out the steering and the handling of the NX350. Now, one thing I absolutely love about the steering is that it changes with the different drive modes. So you have Eco, Sport, and Sport Plus. When you have it in Sport Plus, like I have it now, it tightens up quite a bit. It gives you a lot more stability, a lot more control. Historically, I found that most Toyota and Lexus models have steering that's a bit lighter than I like it, but they've definitely tuned the steering to suit whatever drive mode you're in, 100%. When you have it in Eco, it's a lot looser, but I really like the heavier feel of the steering in the Sport Plus. But again, with the steering, everything is nice and direct, precise, and also paired with the all-wheel drive system. There's no slipping when you hit bumps or anything like that. It's just nice and solid. Now, as far as the handling goes, the corners and sharp turns like this, no issue for this whatsoever, especially with that all-wheel drive system giving extra traction. I mean, this SUV is on the small side, but it's nice and nimble. You can throw it into corners and not have to worry. Little to no body roll. And like I said before, this SUV has a sporty nature to it, and that definitely is reflected in the driving dynamics. The MSRP of this 2025 Lexus NX 350 F Sport with all its options is $58,010. Big thank you to Lexus for sending me the NX 350 to keep for an entire week to be able to give you guys the most thorough review possible. Let me know your thoughts on the NX 350 down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please share with a friend and subscribe. It'll really help the channel grow. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos. Let me know down in the comments what other vehicles you want to see on the channel next, and be sure to follow @OpticalAutomotive on TikTok and Instagram, and check out the page on Facebook. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.